crazy. Like, I know some of those girls and like other campers that I went to camp with so well. I know them better than people that I go to school with.
Hey guys, welcome to Raising an Archer, and we have Makayla
Alford.
Thank you.
I should have just said her name.
I should have just had you do it. I should just had to do it. Well, we have an exciting show for you guys today. We have Makayla, and she wanted to talk to us about the Texas Brigades.
Yes,
Texas
sir.
Brigades
Camps. And
Had never even heard about it until we did a pre-interview with her.
yeah, we went, she came into our shop, and she was talking to us about it, and I was like, okay, that's going to be a perfect podcast. So I talked to her, and she's like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I was like,
Can't believe she didn't know about our podcast.
I don't know what I'm talking about. So that's why we need to have a pre-interview with her. All right? So
He never knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
So I am Makayla Alford. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I've been doing the Texas Brigades camps for I've done it for 3 summers now. And so I've been doing it for as long as I could. And
So when did you start? In 8th grade?
I started
At the end of 8th grade, I guess?
It was the summer of 8th grade, so it was the summer 2021.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right after COVID, or actually kind of in the
Yeah.
in the COVID thing there. Did COVID seem to slow anything down for who was going to these camps?
Well, of course, like the 2020 camps, they got canceled, but we kind of just had to pass a temperature check and health stuff, and
That's
then
right.
camp
Like
carried
shoot
on.
that thing
like
in your
a-
forehead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, that was it. As soon as we got to camp, they were like, "We're checking your temperature."
Yeah, and sign off on, have you had any symptoms?
Oh, yeah,
Have you been
definitely.
around anyone have you been exposed?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I
sir.
don't know. Could have been exposed.
Yeah, so the Texas Brigades Camp, there's 9 different ones here in Texas, right?
Yes, sir. There's 9 across the state, and kind of each one is geared towards a different aspect of conservation. So, like the ones that I've been to 4 different ones. I've been to the South Texas Ballboy Brigade, the Waterfowl Brigade, Buckskin Brigade, and the Coastal Brigade. So, you kind of, just from the names, you can tell they're each about different things. So,
Coastal was the one in the desert.
Oh, my word.
well, it's actually down in Galveston.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's not
I
far
was
from
so
here.
off on that.
Oh, my word.
But-
So these Texas Brigades camps, that's put on by Texas Wildlife Association?
Yes, ma'am. So it's like the Texas Brigade camps are under the Texas Brigade program, and then they're a nonprofit that's under TWA. So, yeah.
So
Very
tell
cool.
us, the very first one you went to, why did you want to go? And tell us about it.
Okay, so the very first one I went to was the Waterfowl Brigade, and I kind of knew about the camps from my cousins, but I really, really knew about them from my dad because he'd been helping out and volunteering a lot. That's because he's an instructor at the camps, and what the instructors do is they're volunteers that are from like Texas Parks and Wildlife, NRCS. They're biologists, and they're not paid for it, but they just come and they volunteer. So he was one of those volunteers. He'd been doing it since like I was 2. So, and from that, I knew about it, and he'd been like telling me, you got 2 years so you can do brigades. And I'm like, I'm ready, because I love learning about stuff like that, because biology and like agriculture, that's what I want to do. When I get older, I want to do essentially what my dad does, which is wildlife biology. And these camps, that's what they're based on. So, and the Waterfowl Brigade, it's in Eagle Lake, is around that area, Garwood. So that was the closest, and that was the one that he was helping out with. So that's why I chose to go to that one first. And it was a really good, starting camp, because I hadn't really experienced it yet. But since he was kind of there with me, it was nice. But I don't think I talked to him even that much, because we were so busy throughout the week. Because at those camps, everything is like action filled. You're doing stuff all the time. It's always hands on. Because I think as soon as I got to the camp, that we did kind of introduced everybody who you were. You stood up in front of everybody, told them about yourself, your name,
Yep.
everything, and then you went with your flock, which is your group for the week, and we went and we did a round robin of doing, and like anatomy of a duck and learning about the duck eggs, and we talked about their whole digestive system, and we went through all that. It was hands-on as soon as we got there. Like, they just threw us into it.
What was your flock?
My flock we were the Blue Wings.
Blue Wings,
Yes.
all right.
And I was one of the cadets, and then there was 3 others in my group, and I had an assistant flock leader. His name was Case, and then my adult leader was Miss Tilly. I remember her name.
I can't remember. She remembers all the names
I
from
know.
like 3 years ago.
I was worried
Oh, yeah.
whenever I
I
asked
can't
her
even-
about the flock name. I was like, that was a few years ago. So
Well, see, what's really weird is I usually have problems remembering people's names, but since like you get to know those people that you go to camp with so well in that little week span, because the camps they're a week long, 5 days, and you get to know them so well. It's crazy. Like, I know some of those girls and like other campers that I went to camp with so well. I know them better than people that I go to school with.
Yeah.
Like, and we're talking all the time still. Like, my herd from Buckskin, it was a group of all girls. We were all like best friends now, and we were like planning to meet up soon, and it's amazing, like, the connections that you can make.
Are they
and
all over the state
friends.
that go to these things?
Yes, sir. So, like, there's all like 9 different camps, but everybody that comes to the camps also is like from everywhere in the state. So I will know people from like Dallas area, and I'm like all the way down here. So, and, like,
So nobody outside of Texas can
coast.
join this?
well, there are actually people that are outside of Texas can also come to the Texas Brigades. I know a girl, she was from South Carolina, that came, and it's crazy how far some of them come, but it's definitely worth it coming from that far and learning what you learn at the camp.
So these groups are small, and if I remember correctly, you said that it's like a group of 30 kids, and so y'all break off into these flocks, and so even your group, you were talking about your groups were small, so it's just a limited number of kids that can go to the camps.
Yes, ma'am. So when you sign up to go, it's kind of a competitive type selection process, because you're answering, what you do, kind of like a little bit of background about you, and then like your interest, all that. And if you answer 2 essay questions, and they kind of decide if you would be like a good fit for the camp based off of those questions that they ask you about. And because it's so small, it allows them to really, like, you're able to be hands-on. You're able to ask the volunteers questions about everything that they do, and it's really awesome.
I like the way you keep saying that it's hands-on, because I know for me, I learn better if I'm, hands-on, and I can see the different parts of like an animal or something. And so I really like that side of it. And did I hear you right in our pre-interview that this is for kiddos that are like 13 to 17?
Yes, ma'am, it is for teenagers. and
All
children.
right.
So you were saying that you dissected a duck. So what part is a chartreuse?
Oh, my word.
We didn't go.
It's not part of a duck. Just don't even
No.
worry about it. Just ignore that
Don't-
question.
Oh,
We're going to move on. Now, tell me how this connects to land stewards.
okay. So what you're learning at the camp is basically their motto is to create conservation leaders in every community. So you're learning everything at the camps, and then they're gonna send you out, kind of like what I'm doing right now, like talking to y'all about the camps and what I've experienced, and share what you learn. And then they want you, like, even if you're not going to become someone who's working in agriculture or wildlife biologist, they want you to be able to have that voice for, conservation and animals and the land, and just having that knowledge and the understanding that is important, along with everything else that essentially happens, is really awesome. And like the stuff that you learn, they tell you about that and how its importance, and they go in depth into it as well.
I like that because if we don't take care of it, it's not going to be here. It's natural
Definitely.
resources. And so, yes, so many people need to know about that. And I had no clue about these camps. And I had written down WILD, W-I-L-D. Tell me more about that.
So the WILD is not the same as the camps.
Right.
It's the Wilderness Intensive Leadership Development Program, and
Very good.
I know. I was like, I hope she remembers that.
I remember it. But
She's like, I know
It's
it
a little
all.
different when you're like put on the spot
Right,
like this.
right.
You know?
well, so basically what it is kind of if you've known about brigades or you haven't gotten into it yet, but you're older because it's geared towards college age, people really, and it's longer than the brigades program, and you're going places, and it's a lot more intensive, and like you're doing more of the work type thing. I don't know a whole lot about WILD,
Because
but
you're not that age yet.
I'm not, and I want to do it.
I was going to say, I bet you plan on
She
it.
wants to be
plan on
wild.
doing
She
it.
wants to be wild.
I do.
All right. So there's been the South Texas buckskin. You said they even talk about barebow safety there.
Yes, ma'am. We shot bear bow while we were there, and at every single camp we do shooting sports. And the coolest thing about it is you don't only shoot like the shooting sports, because a lot of the kids that go to the camps, they have background on it, because that's kind of what the camps are geared towards, is like people who like to be outside and do
Right.
shooting sports and everything. But they teach you how to shoot it properly. They give you tips, like you can fix this, you can do this, and
Oh, wow.
they'll show you how to do it. But also, if you're like hunting, like ethics, which is really awesome.
Yes.
So they're like safety, ethics, how to shoot. Like if they haven't, you get helped, and it's also a competition, like at the camps, because a lot of the things end up being a competition. Like what you learn, that's a competition, because you do quizzes and you do like plan IDs tests, and it's really awesome, like everything that goes into it. But the shooting, it's one of my favorite things, like because I've done shotgun, I've shot 22, and I've shot bear bow for competition at the camps.
All right.
Well,
That
what bow are
sounds
you
very
shooting
cool.
right now?
Right now I shoot compound.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bear bow at the camps was really different.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of made me a little frustrated, but
Yeah.
Right?
So I know that social media ties into this. Tell me more about that.
So the social media kind of aspect is you can share like things kind of how I'm doing on social media, but they teach you how you can use it like as a good thing to share stuff about conservation. And we'll talk about tools that you can use, like photography and other things that can help through conservation wise. And social media isn't like a super heavy like topic that we talk about, but it's definitely like how people find out about the camps. It's one of the main ways, because you can follow them. They have an Instagram and a Facebook, I know.
And so Facebook and Instagram, that was Texas Brigades, if people wanted to go
Yes,
check it
ma'am.
out. All right.
Texas Brigades. And
I
then,
know that would be more competition of you trying to get in, but I think it's a cool thing
The more
for
the
others. Look at her. The more the better. She's like, I got this. I'm good. So you are here at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Archery Competition. That's a whole mouthful right there. You shot today, and you've been shooting since third grade?
Yes, ma'am. And a little bit before that as well. It was just like toy bows, watching my dad shoot, because he has a compound and he hunts with this bow.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I want to shoot too. So they got me like a little bow, but now I was like, I have a serious bow, and I've been shooting for a long time.
Got a serious
bow.
bow.
It's an actual bow.
The other one joked around too much.
It was a Scott bow.
That's right. That's exactly what it was. So when you came
Now she
to
got
me,
a Wendi bow.
yeah, a very lame one. It's real weak.
Oh.
So when
See
you
how
came
he
to me,
treats me?
you said that that you're trying to get into basically that next level of the brigades.
Yes, sir. So kind of what I'm doing now is I'm doing things to collect a BOA, like a book of accomplishments is what it's called, because if I finish that, then I can go on to be an assistant leader. Like I said, each kind of group has cadets, right? And then they have the next step up, which is an assistant leader, which is also a cadet, but they're an experienced cadet. So they are guiding the campers through camp, essentially, and you're there to lead them and help them. And it helps develop leadership skills and kind of like helps you retain information because you're learning everything again, essentially, because you're revisiting the camp.
Right.
And I think that's really cool. I've been an assistant leader twice now at the Waterfowl Brigade and now at the South Texas Bobwhite Brigade. And it's a really awesome experience because it teaches you so much, even though, you've learned a lot from the year before. But when you go back, you realize that there's so much more to everything. And it's really nice because you also, get to see some of the other campers again because you're not the only assistant leader. There's usually 4 to 5.
I associate it to reading a book. So I can read a book one time and I get this from it. And then I read it a second time. I'm like, oh, I totally missed that part.
Yes,
so I'm guessing that that's kind of like the same thing when you go to camps, that you've gone to that camp once and you got this much out of it. You go to the camp the next time and it's almost like it's eye-opening that you're like, oh, this.
It's kind of like for someone that doesn't read. You watch a movie. And then you watch it a second time, and then
like
you find something. No, not Gone with the Wind. It's more like So I Married an Ex-Murderer, where you catch all the other cool lines that they have that you missed.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Both examples are accurate.
What a diplomat.
I know.
You can tell why she does well getting into the Texas Brigades.
It's like she said, she's like, I'm not I was more nervous out there shooting than being here, which I think is probably the opposite of what most of them would say.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of that actually has to do with brigades because along with the leadership, they teach you how to speak, because we have speaking contests at camp, because we will do things like what they call it's like deer politics at Buckskin, and they'll call it quail politics, and we'll act like we're at some kind of council meeting and we'll talk about some kind of up and coming issue with conservation, or like we talked about RAWA at the Recovering America's Wildlife Act at camp this year and last year at Bobwhite, and you talk about it and they give you tips on speaking, and you kind of put your best speaker in your group up there, but as you're doing camp, you're speaking in front of people and you're getting out of your comfort zone and your shell, because before I went to these camps, I would not be able to speak as well as I am right now with y'all, because I've learned so much from them and it's amazing. And, sharing stuff like I am now has also helped me with that, because it's still, Brigade still has an effect on me, throughout everything that I do to get to that book of accomplishments and hopefully that assistant leader part.
So I did public speaking competitively, and I did extemporaneous speaking.
Would have never noticed.
Competitively. And then, I had to take speech in college. I got 100. I actually had over 100, but they wouldn't put anything more than 100.
I barely passed speech.
So I guess I like to talk. Give me a topic and I'm good. Yeah. We talked today.
Talk well.
I can talk
You do talk well.
I can speak well. We talked today with one of the leadership of Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And that was one of the things that he said today, was that the way that the archers conduct themselves here at the competition, the way they speak to everyone, the maturity as far as, everybody's having fun, trying to have fun with each other, but the way they interact with the different committee members and everything. And I think that's something that you've probably gotten from this, and trying to do all the things you have to do to try to enter Texas Brigades, to get into the camps. I think that is something that you've learned from that, and it has helped you even here interacting with the adults here, because there are a lot of adults that were here. There was 60 volunteers, and there was at least one for every bale. And to hear from someone as high up as these guys were that we interviewed today, to hear them talk about how the youth are in this competition says something for you guys. And I think this avenue has really helped you in that. You've said it, that this has helped you in speaking, that you're not a speaking kind of person, but
I know.
I wouldn't know. We wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know it. No, the way she conducted herself in the pre-interview, Dad would talk and she's like, "Hey, I got this." I was going to talk about that, and
That's why he didn't get invited.
he is standing back
Dad.
over in the he is on the sidelines, but that speaks a lot about you and about this program that I knew nothing about until the pre-interview with you. And I was even going like, how are we going to tie this into archery? And it was easy,
Very easy.
The buckskin, and you're an archer. We're here at the rodeo archery competition, and it all tied in together.
Win.
It was.
Yep.
I would definitely recommend the camps for people who enjoy shooting sports, because shooting sports, and it kind of goes along with what Brigades is talking about. They're teaching you about hunting stuff and everything, but they're also you're doing shooting sports at the camps, and it's really cool how everything kind of connects and how it helps you. It's really hard to explain it unless you've experienced it, because the experience at camp is absolutely amazing. It's very unique. You cannot get it anywhere else because it's so special. It's a very small group of kids. You're there with actual biologists or people that are very experienced in their field of work that are teaching you all of the things you're learning. And it's, you're learning so much within a week, because I have notebooks of notes that I've taken from the camps. It's crazy, but you get to know people and the connections you make, like for future jobs. Some of those biologists that are probably there could possibly be interviewing me one day. So getting
the way she
to know
thinks
those
about
people,
it, that is very mature. That's a very mature thought right there. That
I was just trying to figure out, how could I buy something this summer? She's when I was like a junior in high school, I didn't care. I just wanted to find.
What are you
I was like,
talking about?
What gym would be open for me to play basketball?
Scott has totally lost his
That's what
mind.
it is. Yeah, I'm just thinking about something very short. I knew that there was some golf courses that might be open.
I didn't think you even play golf.
don't worry, I think about archery all the time. I'll be sitting in class and I'm like,
Hey.
oh, archery. I have a meet tomorrow.
I'm heading to the rodeo.
I like, archery. There are a lot of hunters that, are going to the archery season, but with that ethics side of it, that would introduce them to the way that things should be done. So in my family, we've taught our kids that if you're going to shoot to kill, and you eat the animals that you shoot. So that's we see a lot in archery. We see these big
Even a gnat.
hunts.
You killed a gnat earlier.
No, you killed a gnat on my banana, by the way.
I did kill a gnat on her banana.
On my banana.
She screamed at me. But go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Well,
but you see a lot of the big hunts that people go on, and it's just, either for the pelt or the mount or whatever. And I know a lot of people do eat the meat, but on some of the things, so that to me would be like more the ethical side. Am I on the right track? So whenever they go and shoot, you don't just shoot it and leave it.
oh yeah, definitely.
It's for a reason.
Yes, ma'am. At the camps, I know specifically at Bob White, we have a whole hour, and it's just your group. You're talking with an instructor, and we sat down and we talked about what we thought was ethical, and we even spanned it from hunting to things like pigs, how everything like capturing pigs, because they are a nuisance in a lot of the state. But
They tear up our pasture.
Yeah, definitely. It would span from all of that, and we talk about just ethics in wildlife, and it's a really awesome, that was one of my favorite parts at camp, because it was an awesome, really good conversation that we had with that instructor. I remember that instructor's name is Matt Reedy. He's one of the biologists from that area, and he's really very experienced in hunting and things, and it's just a really awesome conversation to have, because we talked about not like you're shooting to kill. You're gonna eat the meat. That's what's ethical. Or like, don't shoot a dove out of a tree. Don't shoot a duck on the water. Like those kinds of things.
All right. And I also like how she said it's not like a class where you go, or a lecture that you go and you just listen to someone. She said they have a conversation with the leader.
That's the way to learn.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting to ask questions. And I like how they said, how she said that they asked, what did they think what did ethics mean to them, and in that situation, what was ethical? And
at camp, they really like, there's laws that are like you have to follow, but then ethics are like a personal code of laws, the unspoken laws. And so but those change for everybody, and they do. Kind of like your situation, like how in Texas we can have corn we can bait for deer, but other states it's like no, you can't at all. So it's like, is that
no
ethical?
Apples,
is
no
it not?
corn. Yeah.
And it's because that at camp, most of it is a conversation. Yeah, they do presentations, and there'll be like 3 in a row. But while they're doing the presentations, you can ask questions, and you can have a conversation with the instructor. And at because we do the presentations, and we'll do round robins and things like that. So you'll talk about, shooting safety at one station, and then you'll go over there and you'll talk about different types of management tools at another. And at each one, they're telling you about things, but then they're going to ask you questions too, so they know that you retain the information that you were talking about. And that's also another really special thing about the camps.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I learned so much.
It really is a cool program,
Yes.
that we didn't have any idea was out there.
Had no clue.
There was a kid that came to Siwat. You may have known him. He put up a sign for the brigades.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at the front desk. He asked if I could.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, or if he could. Not like it's been a long day. It's been a long day. But amazing conversation. Was there anything else we wanted to add? Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
I'll tell you all kind of some of my favorite things about the camp.
Perfect.
So another thing, I know I kind of already said it, but how at camp, as soon as you get to camp, those groups that you're in, everything is a competition, and you're competing with those groups. So like
Very team building like.
It really is, because you get to know your group that you're with so well over that week, and it's because you're always working with them. And one of my favorite competitions was we would do trivia, and I really liked it because I'm really, really good at retaining information and just like learning things. I love to learn.
Yeah.
And that's another reason I like the camp, is because you're learning so much. Is like I would do the quiz, and they just ask questions, and they'll kind of do trick questions sometimes, kind of like how you asked me the duck question earlier. They'll ask you what side of the duck has more feathers, and you say, and it's the outside.
I like that one. I might have to use that.
Yeah, you will, and I'll be like, huh?
But yeah,
I'll forget.
Yeah.
The competitions are really special, and if after all of them, your points are totaled up, because everything's scored. Your points are totaled up over the week, and you can get really awesome prizes. You can get, like gift cards and things, but if you're top flock or top covey, you can go on awesome hunts. Like I've been to the Pintail Hunting Club on a top flock hunt, and I've been to a ranch down in South Texas for a quail hunt, actually in January this year, and I'd never been on a quail hunt before. I'm going to get to go on another one in January, and then
I think she's a little excited.
She is.
About that.
She's very excited.
The quail hunt was really fun that I got to go on. It was awesome, and it was just our group. So when we got to work with dogs too, we got to see how the dogs worked. That was really awesome.
That would be cool.
And then we also, I'm going to go on a hunt in, trying to remember. It's down in South Texas, but we're going to get to go on a buck hunt with my buckskin brigade herd, and that's going to be really fun.
It's cool that they get to go on it together.
Yes, as
we do.
their
We
team
get
that they
we
earned
get to
it
see
together.
our friends again. It's so cool. I'm so excited because I get to see them, and then hopefully I'll be able to shoot a deer, because that would be
One
awesome.
thing I didn't ask is that, so we talked about if someone was interested that they could go to Facebook or Instagram and look up Texas Brigade Camps. But if someone's looking at getting their kiddo to go or getting them to look at it or anything, what is the cost?
The cost for the camps is $500, like for tuition, but you can get assistance. Like you can ask around your community. Like last year, I gave a presentation at our local soil and water conservation committee, and they offered me $300.
Oh wow!
To help
That's
pay for my
more
tuition.
than half of your.
Yes, it was awesome. I was beyond grateful for it. And, you know, at camp, you'll go and you write letters back to the people that sponsored or people that sponsored things at the camp. So you're thanking them, and I still want to go and give them like a thank you basket or something.
Right.
But it was, you can get help, and which is really nice.
Well,
It sounds like they may help
cool.
you with it, like give you ideas to do it.
And also another thing, I wanted to talk about earlier with the competition thing, but you know, the BOAs are kind of also like they're scored, and kind of the highest BOA that gets put in at the camp when you're an assistant leader, you can get scholarships. And that I've gotten 2 that so far, and I can't touch that scholarship money until I turn 18.
Yep.
So it's really nice. And
So to be their first goal.
$1 million? Is it a million?
it's not
Is
a
it
million.
above or below? Just curious on how close that is.
It's a
Pretty sure
little
it's
bit below. I've gotten the highest scholarship at the Bob White Brigade that I've been to, and that was $2,000.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
nice.
So I've gotten more money back from the camp from earning scholarships and winning competitions than I've paid for tuition to go to these camps. So I've definitely gotten more out of it than I've put into going to them, which is really awesome.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Anything can help
Oh,
when going to
yes.
college.
Oh, definitely.
Well, thank you, Makayla, for taking the time. I know it's after the tournament, and I think we're some of the few that have been in here. We've been having to say wave to people off to the side because
There
we're
were people
still,
waiting at one moment. They left.
They gave up on us,
Yeah.
but
But thank you for joining
I
us.
appreciate it.
And
Thank y'all.
yeah, we're just this was really good podcast.
Yes, it was.
Really good video cast.
I
This thing
learned
is
a
going to
lot.
be video as well. We're going to do both on this one. And so thank you for taking the time with us.
And good luck. And that is all for this episode of Raising an Archer.
Thank y'all for having me. It's
Yes,
really
ma'am.
thank you so much.
Oh,
It's
you're
awesome.
welcome.